All right. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well. All right. Just so people know, I do own more than one shirt. But this is our second episode here. And we're trying to start from the ground up here, right? That's our goal. And the next easiest thing for these cars is what people have to start worrying about are the interiors of our cars. And so neither one of us had a accurate interior. Is that correct?
Mine was red.
Okay. Mine was gray and red, and the red was modified by the person who owned my car previously.
Marlboro red.
It probably was, yeah. But so neither one of us had a proper interior.
Yeah.
So Kit had, for all things considered, a tan interior, and his interior was factory, all factory. There was nothing special about his interior. Well, shouldn't say that. His seats were special because they were rare. They were PMDs, which stood for Pontiac Motor Division. So they're only in Firebirds. Only in Firebirds. Well, they weren't in Trans Ams, were they?
I honestly don't know on that one. I thought they were Trans Am and Firebird, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong about that, but they were definitely only in Pontiacs. They were not in.
I'm sure we'll get corrected.
I know, right? I'm sure they will. Leave that in the comments and be nice, people. So, but they were only in Pontiacs. So PMD seats. That was the special thing about Kit's seats, which are easily just distinguishable by the hole in the upper section of the headrest, which was non-detachable.
Heard that for many other terms too.
What's that?
PMD. I've heard the PMD stands for several other acronyms as well.
Hit me with the most politically correct one you got.
That's just it. None of them are politically correct. I'll message you the one I'm thinking of.
You can leave those in the comments, folks. Okay, so Kit's tan interior. It was doe skin. Oh, people stop taking it. It was doe skin. And that was the color of the carpet, I believe is what they called that. Doe skin.
Doe skin, and I believe quoting the historians again, the color or the cloth on the seat was the Perella cloth.
Yes.
Kind of like almost a very tough and abrasive material.
Yes. And it was that sand. It was also called sand sometimes, I think. That might have been the later years when it darkened up a little bit.
Yep. And I could have that interior in another car.
Yeah, and you can still buy all this stuff. So I guess we can dive into the hard part, the seats.
Oh, God. I'll let you handle that since you are doing some of your own custom work.
So the seats. So what I learned about the seats was even if you can I found a pair of they were trashed, maroon PMD seats here in Indiana. They were $1,500. They were completely destroyed. I mean, barely noticeable as PMDs. So even buying those seats, I would still have to buy new foam, which is going to cost, I think, $300 or $400, and still have to buy new upholstery for all the seats, which is $700. So that would put me somewhere around $3,000 for a set of PMD seats, and that's just for the front too.
Yep.
That doesn't include the back seats, which are easy to come by. In fairness, back seats are not a big deal. And the kit that you buy that I bought for the seat covers does come with the back seats as well.
Okay.
It comes with the back seats. So that $700 was for the front and the back. Well, I realized, and one of the only good pieces of advice I got from the name that will not be mentioned, is that if you get a set of the high back Trans Am seats with the non-detached, non-movable headrest, just the high back ones, those are the same dimensions as the PMDs. They just don't have the hole in the middle, so that you could cut the hole in the middle. And what I'm affectionately referring to as cloning PMD seats. And that's what I did. I took the seats apart. There's metal. It's a metal backing plate. I cut a hole, cut the foam out, essentially pulled the seat, redid everything else. Everything else on the seats are the same. and pulled them all over, and I essentially cloned my seats. Now there is one other difference between the real ones and the clone ones. Can you guess what that is?
Other than the price?
Other than the price because the pair of seats I bought were $100. I bought those for $100.
The PMD logo in the middle?
The PMD logo, which since mine are clones, I did not put the PMD logo back in.
Okay.
Kit did. I know people are like, oh, you should. They're clones, so I didn't do it. And it's another like $150, $75, $100 or whatever just for those little logos. And I was like, I don't. Someday maybe, but not today. The PMDs have a plastic back cover.
Okay.
That the regular fabric seats don't have.
Okay.
So that cover can be purchased from KRW and PMD.com. You can get that cover, but it's like $200. Me and one of the other teachers school, we are working on a way to do something else because there's a piece of cardboard in there that's almost the perfect size and shape for that back cover. Okay. So we're working on something to do that. We're working on it. We haven't worked on that in a while, so we need to, but we haven't.
Now with that cover, let's say for example, with your clone, if you didn't put that on there, does the cover still go all the way down, or do you have to have that piece on there?
The PMD seat? Oh, or the back piece?
Yeah, like if you just say you didn't want to spend the time and energy and money on getting that back cover, can you, like, does the cloth go all the way down to the bottom of the seat? Do you have to have that piece?
You'll see the back of this. The cloth doesn't cover the back of it up.
Okay, that's what I was asking. If it covered the whole thing.
The other seats essentially went on like a t-shirt. I mean, it just pulled it all the way down, and then you hog ring the bottom of it to keep it in place.
Okay.
So the holes in the PMDs, when you put it, those holes actually just come across their Velcro. When all the fabric goes through there and kind of wraps around the edges, that's just Velcro. Is all that. Okay. So, but if you don't cover the back of the seat, you're going to see the internals and the metal plate and where all the hog rings are and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of need something. You could get away with some other tricks, putting some fabric back there. And I got my seat covers from year one, and it did come with extra fabric where, like, if I wanted to cover that, I could with just some fabric. I don't like the way that looks. So I'm going to figure something else out, but we'll see as far as that part of it goes. So, but yeah, so you can clone the PMDs if, yeah, that's definitely, I think we could say that on there. PMD stands for pain in my dick. I think we can get away with that.
Well, we've got some of the ladies working on it, so
that's fair. I got one for that too.
Yeah.
I'll let her put that in. So you can get away with cloning the PMD seats. I kept my metal cutouts from the backing plate. Okay. So if someone wanted to try to use my template, I would mail them to them. They could use it and then send it back to me or whatever. But I have the two cutouts I used when I cut my seats, that metal plate. And I would like to try to make some sort of a template for that someday where I can send that out in a PDF form. Awesome. Where you could print that and just tape it and know where to cut. But because I mean, my seats I'm pretty happy. They look good. They're not perfect, but there's better than $3,000. I can tell you that. Because I have about 800 in them now. Because the high back seats were $100. I mean, they were
you get them for nothing.
Those are nothing. And like I said, the coverings, that's expensive stuff. But I'm happy with it for now. Because as we've said, you'll never stop working on this car anyway. And someday if I run across a set of true PMD seats, I can always uncover mine and put the new covers on those seats and get away with it. So for now, they're good. So the seats are the hard part. That's the most expensive part. You mentioned door panels.
Yep. We were talking about how the Camaros and the Firebirds, all the parts are interchangeable, but the Camaros, I noticed, have a kind of a weird line print on the side, so it doesn't look correct. Whereas the Trans Am's Firebirds just have that chrome trim that goes at
Yeah.
like an L shape. So you
I
can
didn't know.
use the Camaro pieces if you're not being like super particular, but it's going to look different.
Which I didn't know that was chrome. I thought it was black, so I painted mine black.
I did too.
Okay,
Until, yeah, I thought they were just solid black, and then someone else, Chris from Night Scanners, was working on his. He's like, "How does this look?" I'm like, "Wrong. No, oh no, I'm wrong."
yeah, I did it too, but I like it. I bought new door panels, and for the cost of them, it was 100 and like it was like right at $200 from
For the pair or for a piece?
for a pair, brand new for a pair.
Really?
And they have all the punch outs in them. So like depending on like so you say you have a crank window,
Right.
it has a punch out for a crank window, or if you don't, it's all flat, and then you just have to do the punch outs for the whatever the door handle and all that stuff is. So it's kind of a one door panel fits all. And for what the cost, I'm pretty sure I got them from year one.
Okay, I'll have to look into that because that's way cheaper than I was.
Is it the year one Rock Auto or Trans Am? I'm gonna have to post my spreadsheet. But it was like $200 for what I mean. They're brand new. They look perfect, and like you can basically they're made to order. They're just whatever you want. Awesome. So I bought new ones, and they're perfect. So I went with new ones, and it's just so much easier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's not bad at all.
It may have been Classic Industries. Like I said, I priced all this stuff out to find the cheapest. So it might have been Classic Industries too. So yeah, the door panels, because Kit did have certain door panels on the car. And he had black pole handles or armrests.
Yep.
Not grays. Like my car had a black and a gray one. I don't know how that happened. I realized it as I was taking it apart. I was like, man, that's another part I'm going to have to buy. Crap. So I had to do that too. So door panels. And then all the plastic. You said your car's red. Like red, like all red, or like
my 86 was red. Like everything was red. Honestly, if I was just restoring a black Trans Am, I think that red would have been gorgeous. But it's wrong.
Yeah. So painting?
No, actually, well, I'm going to paint it, but actually, my 89 had that darker brown, darker tan. So I'm going to repaint all that, so it wouldn't be such a drastic color difference.
Okay. So I got you. Because you don't have to primer; it'll be less work. I got you. My interior was gray, mostly gray. It's a little mismatched, but I painted it. Used of course, washed it with Dawn grease first, because get all the grease off of it.
Yeah.
Then use adhesive promoter and the DuPont. I'll have to link in the description exactly the paint that I've been telling people to use. It's a DuPont, and it looked great. I did mine in a paint booth. I think that can really make all the difference in the world when you paint this stuff. Compared to just doing it in your garage and huffing. I mean, you may get into huffing fumes. I don't know, but I think it makes all the difference in the world when you can do something like that in the proper conditions. But I painted all mine. It looks great. Super happy with that. Nice and easy. So the interior parts, because if you can find an all tan, even if you can find one, it's going to be trash.
The plastic will be just rotten. It dries out. It gets brittle.
And these cars they had the shit kicked out of them to begin with. So what do you do, right? You're gonna have to do that no matter what. So door panels coming. Now I pulled all my interior out. Did you do sound deadening in yours or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I probably went overboard on my sound deadening, because technically you only need like one little square per square foot.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it donated to me through the school, and so I just layers of that stuff. Yeah, just everywhere, man. Like that car's gonna ride it won't ride like a Cadillac, but we won't be able to hear anything on the outside of her. So
nice. That's awesome.
But I do recommend sound deadening, because these things rode like log trucks.
They were
log trucks anyway. I was just talking to someone the other day, and I heard him shut the door over the phone. I was like, "Are you driving your Trans Am right now?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Holy, okay." And so long story why it was, but you could just hear the door rattle.
You know that sound. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that sound on the F-body cars. It's just it's like, all right. But if you can get some of that sound deadening inside the door, it can make all the difference in the world. Like, I mean, I was showing my students, I put some in the passenger door, and we were shutting the driver door and the passenger door, and they're like, we can't believe the difference between the sounds. I mean, it's so noisy, but they're like, I can't believe the sound. And it was just like one square, like it's kind of a scrap of a square. I just kind of was like, here, let's just stick this in there. And they were all blown away by it. So the stuff does work. I use Dynamat.
That's what I use.
Is what I use. It's fairly inexpensive anyway. So
yeah, it's not bad.
So yeah, sound deadening. I decided, and I don't know if this is even going to work, but I did it. The sail panels, you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, speaker covers.
Yeah, the speaker covers in the rear. I kind of cut out the center of mine and then put lights behind them.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to work or not.
We'll see. That's awesome.
We're going to find out the hard way.
Yep.
Because the lights are all installed on the car and all that kind of stuff too. So, but you got to recover those guys, which aren't bad. Those are easy to recover. I got actually got that material from eBay. I used the same as the headliner material.
Okay. Which
takes us into the headliners. Did your headliner survive?
No. T-tops, like we talked in the first episode, they leak like crazy, and that all it is cardboard sheets, and I mean they rot quickly.
Yeah, and smell bad.
Yeah.
I got it wasn't fiberglass. I said it was fiberglass. Come to think about it, it's plastic. I got a plastic headliner.
Okay.
And recovered it. And I've heard rumors that the plastic ones are hard to mount.
Heard the same thing.
I don't know. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. I mean, there's going to be a screw in each corner because the seat belt's on, and then the upper console is going to go to the middle of it. So even if it's only a 90% fit,
yeah,
I think it'll be okay. I mean, gotta hope. But now you said someone makes a fiberglass one.
I believe. I think Ricardo makes one. It's a fiberglass shell that you can recover, and I've heard that it looks really good. I've not had any experience with it firsthand, but I know you had mentioned Matthew. Doesn't his overhead console have like another piece that covers when you have the T-tops out?
Yes.
So that adds to the effect.
Yeah, that'll add to keeping it a cleaner look no matter what when the T-tops are out. So,
cool.
So the headliner is kind of one of those things that's going to have to be redone to make the car just usable almost. Because, and I will say this, I'm pretty sure you will lose your dome light.
Oh yeah, it goes in the overhead console goes in. Yeah,
you'll lose your dome light. Which I'm okay with. I don't care.
But now, kind of going back on T-tops in general, kind of falling back on that hardtop situation. I've seen people take the piece that like Ricardo or whoever makes, recover that and put that into a hardtop car, and on the inside you now have the look of a T-top car.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they'll put those in there, and then they'll high gloss paint right what should be the glass if you're sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Paint that, and then when you're sitting in the car, it looks like a T-top car, except you just can't see through the glass.
That's not bad because honestly, kind of driving around with T-tops anyway, it's just like driving under a magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, you can bake your head.
Yeah, you can still bake your head. You still get sunburn through those T-tops. I don't think they put UV protection on them.
Well, I know they made little inserts that you could put in, like a cloth film that you could kind of put in there. They did that with the 3rd gens and the 4th gens. When I bought a brand new one in '99, it had that little shim that went into the T-tops.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know those. I knew they had those. I didn't know they were factory.
Yep, mine had it from the factory. It was color matched cloth interior to.
All right, sweet. Yeah. So
I use those a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. If I can't put the top down, then the windows are up, and I'm not even going to drive the. That's how I was with my convertible. If I couldn't put the top down, I didn't drive the car. I didn't want to.
Yep.
And I feel like kind of the same way. The T-tops are not a convertible, but I'm a huge convertible guy. I love convertibles, but if I can have the T-tops out, it takes some of the fun out of driving the car for me. I want the T-tops out and the windows down and blasting 80s music.
Exactly.
Non-copyrighted 80s music, obviously.
Yes.
80s music. So the seats, the door panels, the sail panels sound deadening. The center console.
Yep.
That's a point of contention.
Yep.
You need an 82 to 84. Is that right?
Yep. Correct.
Center console I've been told Firebird definitely. The Camaro one is slightly different, but it works.
Yep. I've not seen it yet. The Camaro one with a lower console mounted to it. I don't know if that'll actually cause any problems with excuse me, the dimensions of the console, but I've seen people do it, so I imagine it works. But yeah, you have to have the square lid to line up the lower console.
Okay. I have a Camaro center console, so we're going to find out soon, as soon as I get my parts from Night Designs, which should be coming to me soon. So yeah.
I mean, I do have a lower console that I got from He Who Will Not Be Named, if you'd like to try that one.
Oh man, only to break it apart and mail it back. Yeah, he should be having that to me here soon. Anyway, I talked to him last week, and he said he's going to get mailed out to me this weekend. So, yeah. So I think it'll be okay. The center console, because you have to move the radio, you have to mount a new radio and all that kind of stuff. Which I am fighting with the radio right now. You get new mounting brackets for double den, but there's vents on the inside that have to be removed for the double den to fit down in there, and it's almost a nightmare. It's turned into a little bit of one, because actually those plastic pieces, they're fragile.
Yeah,
and I did break it, so I've had to fiberglass it back together, and then I had to move classrooms, so I haven't really gotten back to it. So I'm gonna start working back on that, but it is what it is. So the center console, and then the creme de la creme. What makes Knight Rider Knight Rider? Well, two things in my opinion. There's two things that make Knight Rider Knight Rider: the nose, the scanner, and of course the dashboard.
Yep.
And I didn't know this until I started working on this car. How does the dashboard go on?
A couple of different ways. So it all depends on whose dash you get, how everything mounts up. I know some of the guys are making their dash have foam to keep the dash itself from kind of making noise and rattling around. I know any of the guys like me that have the old stuff, once you set that fiberglass dash down, if you don't have something in there to kind of keep it steady, it's going to squeak and rattle like no other. Okay. So be planning on putting some kind of insulation or something in there to kind of quieten it down.
Now, to put the dash on, you have to take the upper dash pad off.
Dash pad has to come off. The instrument gauge comes out, and you mount you wire your electronics onto top of the old gauge housing.
Now, with the new ZA stuff, you actually leave your instrument cluster intact there.
Oh, do you?
Yep. The directions, when the directions essentially show you exactly where to splice each wire onto your cluster, depending on which cluster you have, because there's two different clusters.
Yeah.
One has a yellow box on it for something to do with the speedometer. I forget exactly. If you have that one, then it tells you where to wire them. If you don't have that one, it tells you where to wire those in there, and your cluster will stay in the car.
Well, I'm cheating. Our dear friend Scott Benson has the plugs that you can actually wire your electronics straight into that plug and not have to solder them to the back of the gauge cluster.
Mm-hmm.
And it's plug and play. It just snaps into place.
And I've thought about doing it that way because I have all data, which you probably know what all data is.
Yeah.
Most people may not, or we also call it no data. But all data is basically a shop manual for every make and model of every car ever made.
Yep.
And all data gives me the wiring schematics for the dashboard, where I can just tap each wire individually if I so choose to do it that way, and just make my own connector. But what I do stay away from cutting into the car's actual wiring harness. So I haven't decided which way I'm going with that just yet, but but anyway, so you take the upper pad off of the car.
Yep.
And then the dashboard fits on top of the existing dashboard.
Yep.
The only other thing I'm told that the later model cars after 84 or 85 will have to do is you have to shim down the steering column.
Some folks, and I have yet to run into this myself, I have seen people trimming part of that old dash off too, because some of the lip sticks out a little too far or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember seeing people trim that off. So if anybody wants to chime in on what kind of experience they've had on that, that would be great.
Yeah, because I was told I had to move because of where my turn signals are.
Okay.
That I have to move the steering column down half an inch.
Okay. I wouldn't wear that.
Just some shims, nothing major. Loosen the bolts, set up some shims, tighten her back up.
Okay.
So I haven't got there yet. I'm hoping to do my mock up on my dash here maybe this week. You'll see. But getting close. So there's all that. So yeah, I mean, there's the seats, the dash, the console, the door panels, the color of the interior, which I'll try to link below, the spray paint that I used, the headliner. I'll try to link some other stuff too, as far as where I got like the door panels. I have that all on spreadsheets and stuff. See if I can get that all linked in there for you. And of course the sail panels, sound deadening. Is there anything else that we're missing as far as the interior? Because the interior is pretty stocked.
You got to make sure that you have the right gear shift knob.
Oh, the gear shift knob. Yeah. The gear, it has to be the round gear shift knob. Which, shockingly enough, even if you might have the T,
yeah,
you just pop that one off and the other one pops back in.
Yep, the other one pops in. And there's a guy that's actually making replicas of the gear shift knob in a billet aluminum, and I believe he sells them for about $150. I'll have to look at my list of people and find out who it was. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but from my understanding, it's Billy Chingas, I believe it's his. I probably butchered his last name, but the historians actually had touched on his replica gear shift knob being like the best thing since buttered bread. So,
okay,
I'll send you the information on that one too.
Yeah, send me that. Yeah, I mean that's because Kit's interior was fairly stock. I mean, there wasn't much else to it. Obviously there's our friend Michael made the gas pedal. That's probably the only other major modification. And really, they just taped on the lights to a factory gas pedal. I mean, they didn't, for the insert shot, that thing probably only worked one time for them until the lights fell off.
I'm sure.
I mean, because I'm sure it wasn't in the real car, in the hero car anyway. So, but other than that, they did remove the sun visors. Kit didn't have sun visor. He didn't have a rear view mirror.
Right.
So take those away.
I can't remember. Did some of were they all rear view mirror removed? I seemed like there was some that still had it. I don't remember.
There was probably some stunt cars and chase cars that still had rear view mirrors just for practical reasons of driving the car that they needed them in. But I would say the hero cars didn't have any of them. I don't remember.
I remember they removed the majority of them. I can't remember if they removed all of them, but you got that. And the rear seats. The rear seats come in two different options. You've got the solid bench or the split.
Yep. Now, which one did Kit have?
Yeah,
he had them. Yeah, well,
he had them. I believe I want to say that it was the split that Kit had.
Okay.
I don't know that really makes a difference either way. It's just whatever you have, I guess.
Yeah, I have because when you order the seat covers, I have a full I don't have a split. I have a full rear seat.
I think mine is full.
It is distinguished which ones you have to order.
Yeah.
Is it a split or the full seat? So you do have to be careful about that.
I'm
Mine is a full seat, so that's what I have.
I'm almost certain the kit had the splits, but because I remember they talked about on the historians, I believe they talked about how they had the trunk release was in where the split would come down.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at it. I don't remember exactly. I don't want to say one way and then be like, oh nope, just kidding.
just kidding. Yeah, I think that was the seats, and then I know, seat belts.
Passive laser restraint.
Passive laser, how that still, again, I don't understand how that worked, but I mean, as far as I understand, the laser would, if you went, it would cut you in half. But anyway, the
Resident Evil.
seatbelt, yeah, right. It's just the 80s. God, you love them. So seatbelts, Seatbelt Planet can re-string yours.
Yep.
They did my front two for me. It's cheaper than buying new ones, but they're still expensive as all get out.
Yeah. On your seatbelts, did you do lap belt only, or are you doing lap belt and shoulder belt? Because the PMDs, did they have the little?
Yeah, they have the little thing up there.
Okay.
Well, I mean, my high back seats had the shoulder placements for the seat.
Okay.
I haven't decided if I'm going to put those on my PMD seats yet, because that means I have to cut holes in that upholstery. And it's not that I'm necessarily against it, but I don't know if I want to do it. Because I have a shoulder harness. My seatbelts are shoulder harnesses, not just the lap belt. A lap belt. You've been in the car business long enough. You know what happens when you get in a car accident with just a lap belt.
Oh yeah, it's not pretty.
I'm not interested. So I have the full shoulder thing on there. I haven't decided anything much past that. My car will not have rear seat belts unless I can find some at a junkyard.
Gotcha. Yeah, these things are dangerous enough as is, because imagine you get into a collision, you've got a massive piece of fiberglass that's going to come right at your face.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, and the steering wheel's closer to you and that sort of stuff too.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so yeah, I mean the interior is pretty self-explanatory. Luckily, that it's not horrible. Most of it's just you can get it from Classic Industries, Year One, Firebird.com, Rock Auto. Price out whoever's cheapest, who has stuff on sale. And you can get a lot of these parts because they're just factory Firebird or Trans Am parts. So
now I have seen some guys like on the door sills, that little plastic door sill. I have seen people that are selling or making custom door sills that say like Knight Industries on the door sill. Some people are taking some liberties there. I think it looks cool. It's just all personal preference.
Yeah, I like them. I haven't decided if I like them well enough to put them on my car.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. I do like them because there's some cool ones out there that say Knight Rider or Knight Industries. I like those. I like them to say Knight Industries because Knight Rider was never mentioned anywhere ever on the show. But to say Knight Industries, I think that's kind of cool. That's more in universe, something that they would, there's some nerd somewhere that's building this car and be like, hey, I got an idea, guys. Because he has a CNC machine that can do anything he wants to. So
I think the only time he showed that the Knight Rider word was mentioned was at the closing when you have Wilton Knight saying, "In the world of the Knight Rider."
Oh yeah, like in the pilot episode or whatever. I think it was. Yeah. So, good old Wilton Knight. Thanks for ruining my argument.
Exactly.
That's fine. But I think that's kind of the interior, man. Is there anything else you can think of for the interior?
I think that's pretty much it. I'm sure, no, I think that's it. Unless somebody corrects us, which by all means, people comment on this stuff. If you messed up, comment. Just be nice.
Be nice to us. We're trying here. So, all right, sounds great. Well, Greg, thank you. And then we'll look forward to the next show.
We'll be back.
All right. Thanks, Greg.